I'm Jeff Malcolm, married in 1987. Pretty much had laid it out. In 2 years of getting married, she was a nurse and I was a teacher, and really loved it. Had 2 kids. In 95 or 96, moved up here and started in retail. The money was better for my family. It was the right move for me at the time. Paid a lot of bills, and it took care of the family in ways that, as a father, as a husband, that you want to take care of your family. But there was still something nagging inside of me, and I couldn't place it. There's a Harry Chapin song out there that says you can travel 10,000 miles and still stay where you are, and it felt like I've moved, I've transitioned out of different places, and it still just didn't feel right. I couldn't find that happiness, and so the marriage became rocky. We divorced. It was a struggle, because you hit those different milestones, and for me to think I never saw my daughter come home from a date, I know I left them feeling shorted. I didn't know what was happy, and so you start looking for those things that, why am I unhappy? And so the job had changed, and that didn't make a difference. The divorce had happened. So I picked up a hobby of bike riding, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I can start doing some bike riding and exercise, and maybe I'm not physically fit enough, and I just need to figure out what it is. I was reaching out. I couldn't get that comfort, and I didn't know where it was. Stayed at the job for another 6 years, and it was financially rewarding. The longer I stayed in retail, the higher the salaries went. It wouldn't be uncommon to have a year of $170,000 to $200,000 of income. But for me, there was still that piece missing. It hit that point where I thought, I can't do this anymore. And I stayed that way, and just wondering what I needed to do, and it felt heavy. The best way I can describe it, I started putting other pieces in my backpack. It felt like I was truly wearing weight, and every day that I didn't go in the right direction, the direction that was set for me, and it finally hit that point where I couldn't carry the weight anymore. As I was riding my bike, I would go maybe 20, 25 miles, and I'd do a lot of asking questions, and I think that was my prayer time at one point. It was just that point where it was just me and being able to try to figure those things out. If I make a change, will I not be able to pay the bills? I had to look beyond that and say, at some point, this job is going to get the best of me, and I won't be able to support anybody. Have enough faith and enough belief that I can see the path. As I hit that spot, I really started asking myself, when's the last time I was happy? And instead of looking to where I was, for me it was who I was inside. Graduating from high school, I don't even know why, but gravitated towards Special Olympics, helping out that. And then I had a summer camp for inner city kids and kids with intellectual disabilities that were in an institution. Really cemented, I think, in my mind what was important or what mattered most. And then that transferred over into college as a night manager at a group home. When you're working with someone with an intellectual disability and seeing the difference that you can make in somebody's life just with what I had, and it wasn't getting anything, it was giving what I had. And at that point, I think I realized that where I was going was getting me nowhere. It was who I had to be on the inside. Once again, started looking for a job, but this time looking for a job that was going to meet that happiness that I had when I was in my 20s. Mosaic was advertising for a program coordinator. Mosaic is a faith-based not-for-profit for folks with intellectual disabilities, from kids all the way through seniors. And I was looking at the HR person. I think I pleaded for a job. I got a little teary and didn't mean to be, and as I walked out of it, it's done. And I got the call back. Looking back in management and retail, there's a lot of opportunity for money, and it wasn't here. It wasn't with a faith-based not-for-profit. The day that I got this job, it felt like the backpack was empty. For me, it felt like home. It was the lightest it had been in probably 25, 30 years. Looking back, you wonder why it took that long. As a teacher, I always looked at, okay, where's the bar? And then you see the folks that we serve go so far and so high above the bar. And those are those moments where it's like, oh, there's nothing that can replace that. And it's every day. To have them come in and say, who are you? And what makes you who you are? I know every answer was there. God was giving me the answers and showing me where I should go and what was going to make it right within my heart. I chose to look outside of my heart, and it took me 20 years to figure that one out. Biking, for me, it gave me a lot of time for prayer. But the irony is I would keep writing. The answers were there, but I just kept writing, and it got me nowhere other than tired. You've got to take that step back, and you've got to empty the backpack and see what it is you're carrying and where you want to go. It's so easy just to get caught up on the treadmill and say, I'm making ends meet. But at some point, you're going to wake up and say, there's got to be more.